Moving to the wind-swept plains from Toronto 6 years ago was a leap of faith for Daniel Raymond and his wife Melissa Fuller. Now they feel like they don't fit in here.
Well, I question whether I want my children to be raised here, to be honest. What are the values of Saskatchewan? Do they value, science?
The couple came here to the small village of Palmer seeking a simpler way of life.
Housing was a lot cheaper than in Ontario, and there was also a full-time job for me as a nurse.
Everything's a bit cheaper. You sort of get to know everybody in the community automatically.
But life became complicated. First, their son Daxton had a severe asthma attack that required a panic-filled ambulance ride to the city. Then Melissa was diagnosed with cervical cancer and was left with a chronic debilitating condition, all made more difficult so far from family back east. Then the pandemic hit.
We've really isolated ourselves, and we haven't got COVID, but we're also very lonely, so.
Adding to their loneliness is a feeling that the pandemic exposed or exacerbated political and moral differences, dividing society and fracturing relationships. Daniel blames much of it on the provincial government's emphasis on personal freedom.
I don't just decide if it's safe for me to smoke in a restaurant around kids. Why would I decide if I should wear a mask or get, all these other things? It makes sense for the government to make decisions about that in a reasonable way. When everyone has to come up with their own thing they think is right, their own safety or whatever, you end up with a lot of conflict, which ruins a lot of friendships.
They take all precautions, even keeping their 6-year-old son home from school. The couple was upset when Premier Scott Moe tweeted a tribute to truckers in late January and made the false claim that vaccination is not reducing transmission, then decided to remove all public health restrictions.
And somehow claims that having mandates is divisive, but I think that not having mandates is divisive.
As a registered nurse with a chronic illness and a child too young to get vaccinated, Melissa doesn't feel valued as a Saskatchewan resident anymore. So they've listed their house for sale.
We feel really alone here. And I know that's mostly because of the pandemic, and I know everybody's feeling like that right now. But also, as a healthcare professional and watching the lack of support is I just feel like there's nothing left here for us,
The couple says they can't afford to move back to Toronto, so they'll keep searching for a sense of belonging. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan.